And this is Pep Talk Boys, and welcome. It's me, Alby. I'm back again with a live show. And look, tonight we're talking about, is AJ going to be getting a new trainer? Is AJ leaving Rob Mccracken in the team? What is AJ going to be doing in the future? And look, I'm going to have Kenny Ken on with me tonight. So let me get myself a little bit sorted. I'm a bit disorganised this evening. Been out and about doing bits. So yeah, we're going to get Kenny Ken in. We're going to talk about AJ, talk about what's going on, talk about like anything that is going on with AJ at the moment. And please, before you get started, can you please subscribe to Pep Talk Boys, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. Also, today we've got our Instagram page out, official Pep Talk Boys. If you can go over to that, give us a follow. That'd be great. But look, AJ looking for a new trainer. Should AJ get rid of Rob Mccracken and the other members of the team? So look, let's get Kenny Ken straight in, and we're going to jump into this tonight. Evening, Ken.
How you doing? You good, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good. Just had a little technical issue just a moment ago, but got it all sorted. So ready to rock and roll. You know, we love talking boxing. I love talking to you, Ken. As you know, the subject tonight is AJ looking for a new trainer. Should AJ get rid of Rob Mccracken and the team? I'm going to let you take the floor, Ken. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Well, first and foremost, I think the biggest risk AJ can do by getting rid of Rob McCracken is just that we've got a fight scheduled for maybe next 6 months at best. So we're in October now. As I said yesterday on the podcast, Eddie likes to if he's going to use Wembley Stadium, he likes to sandwich it between the semi-finals and a cup final. In terms of the football, so we're probably looking at Wembley because I think in terms of like the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, remember they share the ground with the NFL, although the NFL season's probably going to be over by then. But all intents and purposes, there's going to be a fight in the next 6 months. I can understand why the temptation for fighters to do that because sometimes preparation isn't right or sometimes there's mistakes, and you know how boxing commentators, fighters, fans, and even trainers, they always tell the fighter what they do wrong. Oh, he should have gone with this approach. He should have let his hands go. Should have thrown more combinations. Probably should have had him at range, or threw a punch to the body. You had Tyson Fury saying, "Oh, I'll do it for free. Me and Sugar Hill can train AJ to fight Usyk in the rematch." So you get all these sort of temptations, and I think that it messes with fighters' heads because no one, I think in boxing, actually grows a pair and actually tells a fighter, you know what, we had this sort of strategy and this guy was better you on the day and he executed plans, and the things we asked you to do, either you didn't listen to what I told you or this guy was just too good and he just managed to neutralise your skills. And I think it's a bit of both in the first fight with Usyk and Joshua. Usyk, as we said in our podcast, a month ago, it's come up to about nearly a month ago, where I said Usyk is the only way Usyk can win this. It's not through his boxing skills, is he engages with AJ, which means he's got to be prepared to fight inside. And what Alexander did is that he engaged with AJ. People just assumed that it was like feints and then punches in and out. It wasn't. There were times when he let AJ know that with a backhand, that I'm going to hit you once that backhand, but I'm going to hurt you. And he hurt him pretty early in the
first
fight.
round. Yeah, first round, Ken. Yeah, big left hand.
And he caught him really big in the third round as well. So he was prepared to engage with AJ, and let AJ know that, that he's prepared to go inside of him. And I think what AJ didn't do is that he fought the right fight. Yeah, he had to box him because you can't just go in there and try to take him out. Gong ho, try to cut off the ring bar, but you can't do that for 12 rounds. You have to measure the distance. You have to be able to box because if you start throwing big bombs, then you're not going to get anywhere for the simple reasons that to throw a big bomb, you have to line it up with a jab. You have to line it up. You have to get your distances because, as I always said, when you knock a man out, it's building your attack. And when you build the attack and you get the punch out. It's timing. And it's something that some people are born with it. Some people you have to learn. But ultimately, it's when he's not when he's making mistakes, his hand goes down slightly, you go there, or what's happened is that he comes at you, you punch through the jab, and but that's all about feints. AJ was too upright, so maybe a prospective new trainer is going to talk to AJ about his actual stance and get him in a situation where he's not too upright, like a lot of Olympic boxers. Vasily Klitschko, he was very upright, but what Vasily Klitschko is that he made sure that because he was fighting smaller fighters, he got away with that. But you never really used to see Vasily Klitschko fight his size like his brother. His brother became a very good inside fighter because he fought for people his size, but he worked with obviously his brother also worked with Emmanuel Stewart, but he always fought that Vasily, who I thought was probably like the better, more technical boxer than Vladimir, although Vladimir had a better resume. Vasily was like this, boom, 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 boom.
He was more meaner as well. I thought he was more aggressive.
And what's happened is that because he fought for fighters, was chopping right hands, whereas Vasily, was had a good left hook, a good right hand, but he put a lot of meat in it and he planted his feet. But in terms of like what you need to get with AJ, you need to get him mates up. Whoever his new trainer, they've got to get Femi back. We know Anthony. Anthony Joshua, PLC, trains in Sheffield, bought his mum a nice house, still stays at his mum's, but I'm sure he's bought his family nice property. But we want Femi at Watford. We want Femi, the guy with the sort of tag on his foot. The guy that first went in the gym, where he had a bit of an attitude problem. Before the Ruiz fight, we saw a lot of Femi in Anthony Joshua. We don't see Femi that much, especially in the second fight of, Ruiz. We didn't see much of Femi. We saw AJ, although in a press conference with Pulev, we saw a bit of Femi, and especially at the weigh-in as well, we saw a bit of Femi. And then even in the ring, when he got Pulev in range and he managed to let his hands go with the combinations where he built his attack, like obviously since he went the uppercut. That's when we saw a bit of Femi. Until we get Femi back, then Anthony Joshua is going to find it very, very difficult to win the rematch. You've got to have a bit of Femi. And Femi lets his hand go, but he doesn't just throw single shots. He builds up his attacks. He throws combinations, and he does really well inside. But the trouble is
I totally agree, Ken.
AJ doesn't want to get hit. Femi didn't mind getting hit.
Yeah, that's the thing. What I was screaming out for in the Usyk fight was that mean uppercut. I didn't see it enough from AJ. I thought when Usyk come in, he could have landed that. He wasn't doing that. The one thing I would say about Anthony Joshua, the one positive out of that loss, I would say, is that he can follow a game plan. Although it was the wrong game plan, you can now say with the right game plan, AJ's going to follow that to a T.
Game plan, but
it was for that fight, Ken. Everyone, I think even AJ's established that. That's why he's looking for a different edge.
Logically. What if he went and became and he went and said, right, let's go and take him out? Where Lennox Lewis took out like Razor Ruddock in the first two rounds in 91. So in 92, when he fought Razor Ruddock, he came in there, boom, boom, took him out in 2 rounds. Against a fencer like Usyk, someone's a great boxer. Supposing if you run out of gas in, say, the 5th or 6th round, and then what happens in round 7 to 12 when you've got nothing left? When you're upright, you're too tired to get your hands up, and you become like Deontay Wilder.
But Ken, I think with certain fighters, they've got to really realise, like, obviously a fight is a 12-round fight, but a lot of fighters do not have the stamina for that. And I think in that fight against Usyk, AJ, what determined that fight for me was when Usyk landed that big left hand in the first round, because I think that made AJ think, oh, he's got power. It stopped him in his steps. And it kind of made him, I don't know what happened, but I feel that big shot changed the fight. And I feel like if AJ took the centre of the ring, landed a big bomb or attempted to land a big bomb, it's difficult. Look, Usyk's a slick fighter. It's easier said than done. I know people who say, oh, he should have knocked him out. He should have gone for it.
Usyk.
He did. Usyk looked worse after the fight. If you looked at both guys after the fight, Usyk looked a lot worse off than AJ. But what I'm trying to say is, AJ, look at his early fights. I know it's different level of opposition, but he just needs that approach. And I feel like with them looking for a new trainer, I believe it's the right tactic to do. It's not always. Look, sometimes change is for the better. Look, Rob's done a great job with AJ. Look at what they've established.
I mean, if you look at this close into the rematch, you know what I mean? Obviously, I think what whoever takes over from is Joshua's trainer, or maybe they might bring someone in because a lot of fighters do tend to bring an extra pair of eyes in. Dylan White is always bringing a lot of people in. Before his first Povetkin fight, he brought in Tony Belly's trainer, a guy from Sheffield, small guy, half it. Dave Caldwell,
yeah.
He brought with Caldwell, and it was just like an extra pair of eyes. And maybe AJ can go that road because I know he's got a long-term, like I said, relationship with Ron Mccracken, and there are certain things that he does well with Mccracken. However, if he does go a new trainer, in order to win this fight, I still think that he's still got to prepared to go 12 rounds, but want to take him out. But he has to improve on his inside fighting. He has to throw combinations. He has to understand that heavyweight level he is going to get caught. Usyk's an accurate puncher, especially with the backhand. And if AJ can't accept that, then he's not going to win his title. He has to be able to win. He can't let Usyk engage like that. The guy's 6'3", you're 6'6". He shouldn't be able to come in there and be allowed to do that. You know what I mean?
No, 100%, Ken. And look, the thing is, I 100% believe that he's going to get a new trainer. We've seen all the images at the gyms. We see Ronnie Shields come out. He was asked, and I think it was an interview. I've just seen the quote on Instagram. He was asked, "Do you know which members of the team AJ's looking to keep or not be around?" And he said, all AJ said to him is that the only person he spoke about still being around was Angel Fernandez. So to me, he would have definitely mentioned Rob Mccracken to these guys because if he's looking at these guys, they would have wanted to know the situation. And look, Rob's done a great thing. They've achieved so much together, and sometimes it happens in a lot of sports that sometimes it's right for both people to go in different directions. Obviously, Rob's big with the GB squad. He had the Olympics in the summer.
Look,
maybe AJ felt like maybe the preparation wasn't great. Like, exactly, Ken.
Boxing training is like a boxing training is it's equivalent in other sports. It's football. As a manager nowadays that say if you work in a city, a 2-year contract. People working city or working like hedge funds managers. You and I know that it's all target based, and that it's all bets of a results business, and that these guys, although they get paid exorbitant amounts of money, they're not going to be in that company for 10 or 15 years. It's just not going to happen because they know it's their game, and it's the same with football management and boxing training. It's part of the game that you do get replaced, especially in a fight, and it's tennis coaching as well. People do replace the coaches because at the end of the day, there's loads of things. It could be the fight. It could be that the guy's not winning and he feels that, he needs to get a new approach. Or the coach may not be prepared to move around the world, for all training camps, like Mark Tibbs with Dylan White. So it's all sorts of different reasons why I do it. But in terms of what Anthony Joshua needs to do, is that he's got into bad habits again, where he's standing upright. Whoever takes over for Ron Mccracken, and we don't know if that's going to be the case, they've got to get like Anthony's feet moving. His feet were too wide in the first fight of Usyk. Too wide, he's square on, and he's upright. No good.
I just want to see more. I just want to see more aggression, Ken. I just want to see that old AJ, the aggression. Look, I think he got too involved in. He had to box a bit. I thought it was clever in the Andy Ruiz fight when he done that, and I just feel like AJ, what he needs to do now is just use that in certain fights, and I think that's good to have in your armory, and I think that's fantastic. It's props to AJ that he can box on the back foot, go 12 rounds, but it has to be with certain fighters. It's not against the best boxer in the world. That's not the right tactic to go against, and I feel like that was just. Look, the rematch is going to be intriguing, depending who he gets in as his coaching team.
Is it going to be like like Lemachenko's dad against AJ's new trainer, was it going to be the fighters? Because I think, Usyk isn't going to change his style. He's still going to. He has no choice. Fighters, boxers at heavyweight level have to engage sometime. Tyson Fury found that with the Deontay Wilder fights, especially the second fight, where he had to engage in order to get the decision, and he engaged in both fights, especially the second fight. But we believed in the first fight. One of the reasons why he got the draw was because he didn't engage. He tried to box him. Deontay Wilder caught him with 2 right hands. Probably nicked a couple of rounds, and then if you did the points up, you tallied the points up. Even from what we watched, but if we were like judges at ringside for that first fight, and we tallied them all up. Remember, we had 2 10-8 rounds. There was maybe a couple that was subjective. I could see, even though we thought it was skullduggery, how it could have been close because of you know what I mean. But we're not allowed to say that because Tyson Fury fought a very good fight on the outside. But I don't see how boxers, especially championship boxers, unless really winning on long range. I think Lennox Lewis found to his cost in 2001 when he fought with Van der Holyfield. He didn't exactly engage with Van der Holyfield. He fought him at long range, fought on the outside, definitely outboxed him, but that counted for nothing because he got a draw.
Yeah.
But in the rematch, when he boxed him and engaged inside fighting, he actually made sure that he got the decision. And I think that's what I want for AJ, is that I know that if AJ improves his inside fighting against a smaller man, he's winning that. He's winning it. He's winning. Doesn't matter how good, Usyk is as a boxer and how much he, feints and he's got beautiful feet. You don't, a big man in the inside is going to do you if he lets his hands go.
He is, Ken. And look, what we're going to go on to next, I'm going to get some of the comments in while we're hearing that. And look, everyone, please subscribe, Pep Talk Boys. We hit 200 subs, which is great for the first couple of weeks. So please, everyone, keep getting involved, keep subscribing, hit that notification bell. You get all the latest news and all the latest lives and watch-alongs that we do. And look, we're going to go to some of the comments before I ask Kenny what I'm going to ask him next, which is, who would you choose to be AJ's trainer? We got a Prince Teddy here saying Rob has ruined AJ by trying to turn him into a pure boxer. We got the neutral corner boxer saying Ben Davison, Shane McGuigan, UK Grant Smith. There's some great choices. We're going to some of them in a moment. Also, Prince Teddy saying being aggressive is not Virgil Hunter's style. Would you agree? Yeah, we can get into that in a minute. Virgil Hunter, a great trainer in his own right. AJ's been too loyal to Mccracken, who is good but limited at well level. And look, Ken, I'll give you a few of my options before I ask you yours, and then we'll delve into it. I think personally the best trainer out there that would change AJ and put him to the next level, but it's never going to happen, would be Sugar Hill for me. I believe
100%.
His style and what he's done with Tyson Fury, I think he would change AJ into an absolute beast, but that ain't going to happen. But for me, that would be number one. I don't know your thoughts, Ken. I've got a couple of others there that I would go with as well. I think Eddie Reynoso at Canelo's gym. I think just being around Canelo, to me, they're similar characters.
Again, Reynoso as well. Canelo's
a great trainer.
Canelo's one of the most intelligent boxers I've ever seen. And I think the only fighter that matches him intelligence is Floyd Mayweather. But I think Canelo, what he does when he fights, is that he understands and studies his fighter during a fight. For instance, and he makes damn sure that he can eradicate his mistakes. So you will start off very well. Billy Joe Saunders, he was, Son George was slick. He was, he was hitting with a backhand. He was moving well. But when Canelo moved his feet, got a different angle, and managed to neutralise Saunders' strength, Saunders was primed for the uppercut, which stopped the fight in the ninth round. Again with Callum Smith, big man, knew feel like Callum Smith was going to use his reach, fence, try to go to the body. What he did, inside fighting, but what he did is that he did the workman trick, rough him up a bit, hit him on the arms, hurt him, hit his shoulders. That way he can't get his leverage. His hands are down, and then I'm gonna get him I'm gonna see how good he is inside fighting. because that was his best chance to win the fight. He works it out very well. And I think that's where AJ's not at that kind of level. But one thing is the inside fighting that, Renuso does have. But, a lot of people have mentioned, running Shields. But the most of, he would work with Mike Tyson. But, there's some British trainers that people have mentioned as well. Everyone talks about Shane McGuigan. Shane McGuigan, he's a very intelligent, good trainer. I think sometimes in terms of the physical, sports science thing, I think he overtrains his fighters sometimes. I know for a fact that Franklin was after the event, and it was not a dig because of their court case. He did feel that he was being overtrained in terms of not so much the boxing type, but the physical type. Like the cardio bit. So maybe that's an issue because but everyone talks about Ben Davison, and he's a very underrated trainer. I think if you hear Ben Davison speak, he's one of the most underrated boxing brains out there. I
love Ben Davison. I think he's great.
He did a fantastic job with Tyson Fury. And he's done a very good job with Josh Taylor. As well. So Ben Davison, and the thing with Ben Davison is that when you hear Ben Davison speak, he actually agrees with me that there wasn't anything wrong with what Joshua did. Only in terms that he had to box for the 12 rounds, because if he went in there gun ho, he would have run out of gas and he would have been knocked out just due to pure fatigue. But I think what Ben Davison needs to do, if he, there's no harm in getting him. It'll be a massive, massive coup for Ben Davis. It'll be like Ben Hu for a lot of people in boxing, but people outside boxing, people in boxing, you need to look at this guy because in fact he's going to be one of the best trainers in the world.
Oh, without a doubt,
his knowledge and of the sport is fantastic, and he actually can improve a fight, and he can actually see what a fighter's doing wrong, and he'll try and eradicate it. And I think one of the things that he needs, to do about Joshua is this, stop AJ being upright and try to improve the inside fighting and let his hands go. I think that this is the coach who can definitely do that. He's fresh pair of eyes as well. He's younger. He's bringing something new to the table. Don't get me wrong. Rob Cracker's fantastic. What he did with Carl Froch as well. Everyone talks about AJ's performance when he fought Ruiz in where he outboxed him. Well, if you kind of like rewind back 10 years before, Carl Froch was fighting Arthur Abraham in the Super 6. Now, Arthur Abraham was a massive puncher, big puncher, knocked out Jermaine Taylor. Carl Froch, did he engage him? Did he? Hell, it was fencing. You remember that fight?
12-round knockout, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was points. He just boxed him.
Who was that against? Sorry?
Arthur Abraham.
Oh, I thought you said Jermaine Taylor. Sorry. Jermaine Taylor was a 12-round knockout.
Yeah, it was a German. So it was
that one. I remember that one.
And basically fenced him. It was fake. You could hear his Carl Froch's misses in the background go, come on, go. That fight. And it was just like, it was a kind of a Mccracken kind of performance. And Carl Froch, AJ did something similar 9 years later in Saudi Arabia when he fought Ruiz. So, you can't take, those kind of performances away from Mccracken. They're fantastic away victory for obviously Carl Froch, and a fantastic, performance for AJ.
Rob's a great trainer, Ken. Look, we don't want to discredit Rob. Rob is a great trainer. He's done great stuff with Carl Froch and that. But I feel like AJ needs to go out of his comfort zone. He needs to get out of Sheffield. He needs to be going around these gyms in America. He needs to be doing it. He needs to be seeing these other fighters. He needs to be. He needs to be engaging. It's good enough being with the GB squad, but they're amateurs. They're trying to get in the Olympics, and I know he's trying to be a great role model for him and that. But he needs to be in these gyms with the people like Canelo, the Charlo brothers, these sort of people, these other world champions. To see how hungry these lions are, and I believe it's great for him. Like, I love Anthony Joshua. We all know that. I think he's absolutely brilliant. But I can also be open-minded to see that he needs this little change. He needs to get that dog in him. He needs to feel like the world's against him a little bit. He needs to have that chip on his shoulder. And like you said, against Ruiz, we saw that old AJ. We saw the guy that was on the streets at 18 years old, maybe getting in a little bit of trouble. Just that little bit of him. I know he doesn't want to do it all the time because he's a great professional. He's a brand. But fight night and fight week, I just want to see a switch going, AJ. I want to see him. I don't want to see him with the belts and all that. You see it with Andy Ruiz. It was a bit like that with Usyk, where it was a bit friendly. I believe that you just have that little edge. You don't need to be disrespectful. You don't need to be rude to your opponent and get nasty like that. But just have that look in your eye, that edge where you look at AJ and you go, AJ means business this week. This is business.
Well,
and that's what we want.
You saw that Pulev, isn't it? You remember the weigh-in, and Pulev was going in and saying, "I'm come to take your title," and then he mentioned about the Ruiz fight, and that got AJ's goat up, innit? Way you're talking, you know what I mean? And I think maybe that's happened. I think the thing with Usyk is that Usyk, it's hard to. How can you fall out of someone like Usyk?
You can't. That's the mind game. That's part of his mind game, Ken, because you're there trying to figure him out.
I mean, he was, remember his fight, Derek,
I'm coming for you, Derek.
I'm coming for you. And then, when Tony Bellew was, their fight, he used to hide behind behind trees to watch a bit of the interview, just to have a laugh. He's a lovely bloke. He's a credit to sport, but
he's destroyed most of the UK talent. He's done Tony Bellew, knocked him out, beat Derek Chisora, and now beat AJ. So he's kryptonite for UK fighters.
Yeah, but you never say that. What an achievement for Anthony Joshua in boxing if he's like the 3-time heavyweight champion. I mean, first Brit to do that as well.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali.
Lennox Lewis got his title from a dustbin in 1992, 93.
He was a 3-time.
Then he lost it to McCall. Yeah, Lennox Lewis has done it 3 times as well, because he lost it to McCall. And then
Muhammad Ali.
He regained it from he regained it.
He lost to Hakeem Rahman, didn't he?
Yeah. So he lost it to McCall, and then when he regained it he regained it because who did he regain it against? It wasn't McCall because McCall wasn't the champion,
Was it Shannon Briggs? I know he beat Shannon Briggs.
Yeah, he must be one of those fighters. He regained it.
I think he beat Shannon Briggs because Shannon Briggs was world champion, and he beat him and took a world title off him.
And then he lost to Hassan Rahman and retained it.
Yeah, and I don't think he lost after that, did he?
No, so he did lose. So, you remember Klitschko was Vasily Klitschko was stopped and cuts in his last fight, and Vasily Klitschko was using his reach very effectively. In Lennox Lewis's last battle.
I thought Vitali started well the first couple of rounds, but that uppercut by Lennox Lewis, which is the same with AJ. They've both got beautiful uppercuts. And Ken, I'm just going to get some of these comments. You can see on the screen there. Boxing for P. Jack says Joshua needs a chin transplant. Which trainer can train him for that?
Think about it. It's subjective. Chin's not meant to take punches. But it will happen. But it can happen in boxing. You are going to get chinned. But I don't care what anyone says, right? What define people's definitions of chinny are different. People say, Deontay Wilder's not chinny because he took a load of punishment and he finally got knocked out. This one's not chinny because he didn't go down. This one's chinny because he keeps on getting he gets knocked down but knocked out.
I don't use the word chinny, Ken.
What's the definition of chinny?
I use heart. Because if you look at Tyson Fury, he goes down a lot, but he gets back up. What I think about fighters is which fighters go down and get back up. If you look at Eric Molina, when that guy goes down once, you can tell he gives up. We touched on it a little bit yesterday. So that's his mentality. But Fury goes down, gets back up. Cole Froch was the same. He didn't really get knocked out, but he went down a couple of times, got back up.
Let's rewind it back, nearly 35 years, maybe 40, and we say Tommy Hearns, one of the best right hands in boxing, but everyone said Tommy Hearns was chinny. Mark Brilliant, another one with a brilliant right hand, welterweight, but they said he was chinny as well.
Yeah. Well, we got a comment here, Ken. Amir Khan. Well, that's another example. But what I mean about that, Amir Khan, he used to get brutally knocked down. It wasn't like he got knocked down and it'd be a 10 count. He would get knocked out into next week. So that's a different case, different scenario.
Do you think he's chinny then, Amir Khan?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say he wouldn't have heart. He didn't get the opportunity to show his heart. He got knocked clean out. So he's got maybe he might have a weak, he might have a weak chin, but you never really got the chance to see that, would you?
You're like Carl Brook in his sort of Sheffield accent. He's a bit delicate around whiskers.
Yeah, he is a bit delicate around whiskers. Yeah, and he get it with his chocolate brownie. You know what he used to say in that. I love Carl Brook. He's fantastic. Yeah, he is a bit light round the chin. Look, there's a lot of fighters, Ken, that have a little bit of a weak chin. Like it is sensitive. There is, but there's some fighters that get back up.
Do you remember a fighter from Hackney called Paul Ryan? Paul Scrap Ryan. Like he was like winning English titles. He's going to go for the British. Fought a couple of fighters. You know, Joel Faxton took him out of a left hook. Took him out of a left hook, and then he got taken out by a left hook by a Liverpool fighter. What's his name again? I'll come back to it. And then everyone was saying that Paul Scrap Ryan went from being a prospect to being chinny. And Paul Scrap Ryan's like words of wisdom were, well, chins are meant to, chins are not meant to take punches; they're meant for eating. He's right, isn't he?
No, he is 100%. And as I say, when certain fighters do worry me, the ones that get brutally knocked down, because you do get a few of them that they don't even do a count. They just when they get knocked out, they get brutally knocked down.
Amir Khan was like Prescott. Come on, and then the Canelo as well. Amir Khan was knocked to them, and there was it Danny Garcia? It's Danny Swift Garcia as well.
Yeah, he got hurt a few times, and it looked nasty, and you don't want to see that. But then, as I was saying earlier, you got fighters that go down and get back up. Remember Manny Pacquiao when he got knocked out by Marquez? That was a brutal one-man Marquez. Yeah. That was a brutal knockout.
Dennis Sandries fought
Ricky Hatton
in '87, went down a few times, even put Thomas Hearns down.
Yeah, Ricky Hatton by Mayweather and Pacquiao. There were some bad knockouts. But no, there are certain fighters. We got here a comment here from Ra saying AJ never KO'd despite almost a dozen top-level heavyweight opponents. That's not chinny. No, that's a good point. Obviously, the Andy Ruiz one, he got hit with a shot around the temple, but he showed heart. He kept getting back up, and that's what I said. He kept getting back up. I know at the end when the referee said, "Oh, do you want to carry on?" He looked a bit lackluster, didn't put his hands up, but he did go down about 3 or 4 times in the previous rounds, and his senses wasn't there. So, but he showed heart. He kept getting back up, and that's what I like to see.
Carl Froch in Manchester in November the 23rd in Manchester in 2013. George Groves hit him with a peach of a right hand.
Who was that again? Carl Froch?
Yeah, George Groves.
Yeah, I watched that fight earlier, Ken. I watched the highlights. That's weird you said that.
Heavy knockdown as well.
Oh, yeah, because I saw the slow motion earlier, and you actually see Carl Froch's eyes roll back, and you think, wow.
Well, we were there. I was going mad when that happened.
I bet you were. What about the stoppage, though, Ken? No, that stoppage was a bit...
I don't want to talk about that.
No, we won't talk about that. That's a different one. But look, we've got another comment on the screen, Ken.
I actually found it very depressing when me and the wife, she's a Carl Froch fan. I'm in Wembley screaming for George Groves, and you say, George, kick your hands up. George, no, bang. At Carl.
Yeah. It was a crazy experience. But Ken, on the screen here, what's your thoughts on this? Amir Khan done a better job than Canelo did against Billy Joe Saunders. Do you agree with that? We're quickly going to that. We'll go back to AJ in a minute, but I like that question.
In terms of it, yes, because Amir Khan is a fantastic boxer. He's got one of the quickest hands in boxing. And when he isn't making mistakes, he is elusive because he was a big welterweight at 5'10", and he had a massive reach advantage. Unfortunately, when he's made mistakes, as Carl Brooks always said, accuracy beats speed. You know what I mean? And he's right.
Yeah, 100%.
The accuracy of Prescott and the accuracy of Canelo, was there. But the first clue to any Amir Khan being chinny was a fight in 2008 when he fought Michael Gomez in Manchester.
Yeah,
when Gomez put him down. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Very much remember that. And also, I feel like Canelo was kind of teasing Amir Khan. You know how he does the old he downloads the data, doesn't he, Canelo? He wants to find out what happens. He done it with Billy Joe Saunders as well. He recognised what shot Billy Joe was throwing. That's why he landed that shot he did to the eye. And with Amir Khan, I felt like he was just letting Amir Khan get the belief,
Talking to the eye, right? The more I look at that punch,
and then banged him out.
To Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders was in a pork chop to carry on fighting that. He was in a pork chop.
Oh yeah, mate, Ken, that shot that Canelo landed was one of the best shots you're gonna land. He broke the guy's face. It's like do you know what I mean? It's like a baseball bat hitting you around the face, and he was looking for that shot. And Billy Joe, I think he alluded to it in his interview that he made a mistake. He dipped down. He kind of kept doing the same action, and Canelo just read it, and he done it with Amir Khan. He just read it. And Amir Khan, as we see here, Prince Teddy said he did got 2 divisions as well. Like I said, Amir Khan, I'd never question his heart because he fought some great champions. You never got to see him really get back up when he got dropped because when he got dropped badly, and that's just sometimes that's what happens in boxing. But he was a great fighter, done great at the Olympics, and look, I would still watch the Kell Brook Amir Khan fight now because it's not like they're 45 years old like these legends that are coming out. They're at the end, and let's just have a tear up. It's just,
you know,
yeah, but Ken, it's just a fight. It's 2 men having a fight. It's just 2 men
and we
having a tear up.
But who's going to promote it though? Who's going to promote it?
Yeah, but Ken, it's not a headliner now, is it? It's just maybe in a big show. You can
mind you.
To them, I'd slot in the middle of a big AJ bill if I was them. You don't have to be the co-main or the headline. It's still a big card. You just got to get yourself on a big card.
Well, they better get a move on because AJ's. We think the fight's going to be between March and April. So if Kell Brook and Amir Khan can agree to money, I mean, and they could just let their egos drop down a bit. I think what will happen is that if you're trying to sell the AJ fight at £25, obviously it's AJ, so you watch it, you do it because it's AJ, and you try and buy tickets. But if you want to get tickets, again, it's AJ as well. But for people buying tickets, a little grudge match, between Bolton and Sheffield, the Water Roses,
and you don't want to see him fight anyone else, do you, Ken? There's no one else out there you want to see him fight. No world champions are going to fight him. There's no one out there ready for him to turn apart from retire.
Kell Brook, let's look at it logically. Both of them have won world titles. Both of them won away from home. Both of them had fantastic victories against brilliant fighters. I mean, Kell Brooks' performance against Sean Porter was brilliant. You know what I mean?
Oh, amazing.
It was subjective. I could understand if they gave it to Porter. I could understand if it was a draw. But Kell did a great job. And, one of Kell's biggest mistakes was listen to Eddie. When Chris Eubank Jr. pulled out of the fight with Triple G out of greed, he should have told Eddie to take the running jump when Eddie offered him the money. But Kell Brook listened to the money. I mean, what was Kell Brook thinking? A welterweight, all right, a very big welterweight, thinking he was going to achieve by fighting Canelo.
I think it was a favour, Ken. From what I've kind of heard on the grapevine, I think it was a favour. I think Triple G was meant to be fighting someone else. I can't remember who.
Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah,
and I think Eddie
Eubanks wanted more money.
Yeah, and I think Eddie offered it to Kell Brook, or maybe Kell Brook might have heard what was going on and said, "Look, I'll fight him for that." And look, you got to give him some sort of credit for that.
He was
and he fought well. He fought Kell Brook fought well in that fight.
Yeah, he still fought
in the end, the power did tell Ken. But
but again, it's the eyes. Well. If he was caught anywhere but the eyes, then I think he'll have a healthy career. But it affected his career.
Yeah, that is true.
Spence did the other eye.
Yeah, How unfortunate is that? You get Triple G done one eye, Spence done the other eye. But I think it all comes hand in hand. I think when that one broke, the other one was just naturally going to be weaker, probably just from the structure of your face. But look, we got another comment here. And we're going back to AJ, and that Ra says fighters like AJ and Wilder are getting by on natural athleticism, and their limitations are exposed by actual ring technicians with high ring IQ, like Usyk and Fury. A coach can't teach that in months. But, well, what do you think about that, Ken? We have seen some people change, and you do see some improvements.
Well, the thing about it is that, you've got to realise is that when you talk about skill and technicians, right, 9 out of 10 times it's the skill in technicians is really for amateur boxing. That gets you gold medals, and it gets you all these titles, a reputation. But skill and technician isn't what professional heavyweight boxing is about. It is about other things. It's about power, athleticism, and aggression. And the best boxers don't normally hold big titles. You know what I mean? Not every heavyweight title holder, world champion, is going to be a Muhammad Ali or a Tyson Fury or a Usyk. But sometimes you have to have a bit of aggression, a big right hand, and you can be a moderate boxer. Not a great. Mike Tyson was a good boxer, but he wasn't a great boxer. But the reason why he's the baddest man in earth and probably the most exciting heavyweight I've ever seen for 4 years is because he knocked his man out. He was an excellent inside fighter. He had speed to hand or foot, and he had power in both hands. And you know what? He had the magic word in boxing: combinations.
Yeah, and a few people in the comments, Ken Rahes disagrees with you. He says, I disagree. Skill and ring IQ is more important.
To a point it is, but not up to a point at low weights, without a shadow of doubt it is. But, let's remember one thing. Usyk got hurt by Joshua. Tyson Fury got put down 4 times by Wilder, who's got no fundamentals. Tyson Fury thought he walked Wilder down the 4th round, and then he came unstuck. I thought that one of the counts was quite generous in the 4th round. I'm not dissing Tyson Fury because ultimately, Usyk won the fight against Anthony Joshua, and ultimately Tyson Fury, best out of 3, best out 1-2 and drew 1. So he both of them prevailed, but over the last 40 years, it hasn't just been about boxing IQ at a heavyweight level. It's been a bit more than that. And at the end of the day, professional ranks, IQ and ring techniques only gets you far. It has to be other things like heart, aggression, and athleticism. And
that's why I throw Joe Joyce in there.
Yeah,
that's why I throw Joe
fighters out there who have just the 2 fundamentals: skill and ring IQ, which is fantastic, but doesn't mean you're going to make your right champ. Luke Campbell, one of the best amateurs out there, but did he make a world champion?
No. I felt sorry for Luke Campbell. I think any other era he would have been a world champion.
Maybe so, but he's an excellent amateur.
He probably one of the best Britons ever produced. He was absolutely fantastic.
Who's Great Britain's captain in London Olympics? A Scouse fighter. What's his name again?
Was it Thomas? Was it Stalker? Is his name?
Yeah, Thomas Stalker. What's Thomas Stalker? Captain of Great Britain, 2012 London Olympics.
Yeah.
What's happened with his career?
And then we got a comment here, Prince Steady, Josh Kelly. So that's another fighter. I said that he hasn't adapted from the amateurs to the professionals. He looks absolutely $1 million for the first 4 rounds. And as soon as it goes past 4 rounds, it's a completely different fighter. So I think Josh Kelly's going up to a higher weight, which would be fantastic. Hopefully he can fulfill that potential because he's still going.
Not everyone could be like a Sugar Ray Leonard. And even so, there's some fighters who'd be unlucky in the amateurs. Floyd Mayweather got
robbed. Roy Jones Jr. got robbed.
Robbed as well. Just to forget, Deontay Wilder, the one who without fundamentals, is Olympic bronze medalist. Right, was WC champion for 5 years. All right, people say, "Oh yeah, he knocked out bums," but he still knocked them out. He still did the most difficult thing in boxing, which is knock your man out. I don't care what anyone 100%. Says. If you knock your man out, then it means you've got 2 things in your arsenal, apart from power: good footwork, the ability to build the attack, and timing.
Yeah,
and if you've got the power, that's the icing on the cake.
No, 100%. And I don't know what you've started off here in the comments, but Ra says, "What do you mean only gets you so far? Usyk just outclassed a much bigger punching heavyweight due to skill and ring IQ."
That's 2 heavyweight. That's 2 fighters. But if you've watched boxing over the last 30 or 40 years, that is a rarity, especially at heavyweight title level. It's a rarity. You know, Vladimir won the Olympic gold, but was he a great boxer? He managed to have everything. He had the ring IQ. He didn't have the boxing ability of a Tyson Fury and Usyk. But one thing he did have was the aggression to rule the heavyweight division with his brother.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about at heavyweight level. Yes, it's a rare, it is brilliant, but fighters like Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk at heavyweight title level are a rarity in terms of like the thing. Maybe you say in Lennox Lewis, because I always thought Lennox Lewis was a bit of a fencer, a ring technician, but he wasn't good technically as Usyk.
No.
And he in terms technically, in terms of like skills, he wasn't as skillful as the Gypsy King.
But also, Ken, like you got to get it right. It's difficult for heavyweights to be a boxer. It's certain, like these weights, like you say, it's unique. Muhammad Ali, he was like what was he, 14.5 stone, 15 stone. So it wasn't like he was a 17, 18, 19 stone heavyweight.
Fury, 6'9", 20.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
He's unique, isn't
he? He's unique, and the same with Usyk. I wouldn't say Usyk is unique in the sense of that that his boxing skill, because he's a cruiserweight. Originally, he was a much lower weight. I remember he lost to Sean Porter as an amateur. I think he was a welterweight as an amateur, and then he went.
In the amateur, he beat Joe Joyce, didn't he?
Yeah, in the WBS as well, he beat Joe Joyce as well. I think he beat Filip Hrgovic in the WBS as well.
Yeah.
So look, there's some good fighters that he's beat. The pro game's a different kettle of fish, though. You don't have the headgear on. You got 12 rounds, and for me, Joe Joyce is a 12-round fighter. Joe Joyce for the amateurs, Joe Joyce only starts getting going after 3 rounds. So for him as an amateur, then in the WBS where it was 5 rounds, Joe Joyce was never going to fulfill his potential, but he done very well in what he done. I think I had a rumour the other day that the guy that he fought in the Olympics final was getting done for doping, I think, and he might be getting his medal upgraded to a gold medal. That would be great for Joe Joyce if that could happen, especially if the guy's cheated.
You know what's happened is that I hear him, but sometimes it just takes a shine of it. It's a robbery, really. You get a gold medal, but it still feels like a robbery because, the reason why I call it a robbery is because you got the gold medal, but it's been given to you. You haven't earned it. It's been given to you because they found out 20 years down the line that the guy cheated. But at that time, you felt you were beaten. It's like Sharon Davis, 1980. Olympic silver medalist. She's now, they've told her that, the woman that the showing had beat her was, taking drugs and blah, blah, and all, and she feels she should have a gold medal. But at the time, she believed that she lost to a better swimmer. And I always say, by all means, have your gold medal, but it's not the same. Because
yeah, but Ken, I think if they cheated, they should. Because look, if he was drug tested the day before the fight, then he would have been disqualified, and Joe Joyce would have been announced the winner.
It's you want at the time when you fight for someone to put your hand up, get your hand up, and say award you the winner, and then someone put the medal around your neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just takes a shine of all the work you're doing. You know what I mean? Let me just check something because I've got a podcast. What time is it now, mate?
No. It's 29 minutes past 9. I know you got to shoot, Ken.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go. Thank you for coming. So I'm going to carry on, people, for a little bit longer. If any of the other fans want to jump on, let me know. I'll send you the link. But
get Ra on. Ra.
Yeah, Ra. If you want to come on, have your say. Anyone want to come on?
Next week, I want a piece of you.
Yeah. All right. So it's a deal. Ra, join us next week for the live. Kenny, quickly shout out your socials before you go, buddy.
I'm at Kenny Ken 1972. At both Twitter and Instagram, Jay. I'll speak to you later, mate.
No, fantastic, Ken. I'll speak to you soon. Lovely having you again. And yeah, look, get in the comments now. Look, I'm gonna now mix in with you guys. We're gonna get some more comments going too. We got Ra here saying happy to. Ra, if you want to come on, let me know. If you want to come on, if you want to come on tonight and come on next week as well, let me know. Any of you guys want to come on? It's always a pleasure. Last night we had Kangaroo Jack on from Australia, joined me and Joe and Kenny. That was fantastic. Loads of energy, loads of passion. And look, we just love boxing, and if you guys love boxing too, as I know you do, the Pep Talk Army, always in the comments, always getting involved. But before we get into the comments and that, what I want to say is go over to our new Instagram page, Official Pep Talk Boys. Give us a follow. We'll follow you back. Interact with the guys, interact with us. If you want to come on the shows, if you have any ideas, just get involved. We love having people's opinions. Neutral Corner says, look, we've hit the 200 subs as well, which is fantastic. Want to thank everyone. Since we come over from Pep Talk UK, we just wanted to work our butts off, try and get everything in gear, ready to push forward. Obviously, Pep Talk UK was an absolute fantastic channel. So much love in my heart for that channel. Obviously, with the sad news that happened, we've now gone onto a new platform. But the love and support that people are giving to us, we really appreciate it. Joe done some great interviews the last couple of weeks, and we've had some really good numbers with that. The watch-alongs, which you guys always come through with us. We had done a great watch-along the other week, which done some good views. And we just want to keep building on that, build on the momentum, and then we can bring you some more content. Obviously, tonight we had Kenny on, bring you some more live shows, but we want to get you fans involved. We want to see what you guys want to say. We're a fans channel. We want to let you guys have your opinion. That's the main thing. So many times, I'm sure you guys, I've had it at home where you just want to talk to someone, you just want to talk boxing, and look, get involved. And Ra, how do you get involved? What happened is I can send you a link. If you have Instagram, my Instagram's at the bottom here. You can DM me, or on the official Pep Talk UK, not Pep Talk UK, official Pep Talk Boys Instagram, DM us, or I can just send you the link. And what you do is I send you a link. You literally click the link, follow the instructions. It's pretty simple. So if you want to jump on, let me have a look on here. We can, if you look in the comments, people, I've thrown it in the comments for you. If you want to come on, click that link. You'll be in the waiting room. If you do come on, just please have respectful language. Last night we had a few things with Kangaroo Jack. He's a great guy, but obviously for YouTube reasons and stuff, and kids might be watching, just watch your language if you do come on. But look, we got King Medassi saying one is now trying to rearrange and rebrand the voluntary as a mandated title eliminator. Talk about wanting something for nothing. Yeah, no, look, that's interesting. We're going to get into that now, people. Let me know your thoughts. But I've seen Walland's promoter saying he wants medical evidence from Eddie Hearn and Dillian White to prove that the shoulder injury is definitely occurring. I said if the fight gets rescheduled, then the fight gets rescheduled. But if it doesn't and they both take separate paths, then people are going to naturally say, was there a ploy? For me, Dillian White, I think he's fantastic. If there's an injury, get well soon, Dillian. But look, if the guy did want to wait because he wants to fight Fury for the title, who can blame him? The guy's waited like 4 years, 3 or 4 years, over 1,000 days. Even had the shot taken away from him when he suffered a bad knockout loss to Povetkin. But what he done, what a true champion does, what other great fighters have done before, they've avenged that loss. It got the win back on Povetkin, took that rightful spot as number one. And look, the guy needs an opportunity. So, look, I don't know what's going to happen there. Wallen can't be demanding all these sort of things. He's not really in a situation where he's powerful enough in the sense of he's got titles, he's got anything to offer or anything like that. He was lucky to get that shot. Yeah, I thought it was a good fight. I was looking forward to it. There's a few fighters on the bill, like Craig Richards, that I want to see, who's still on the bill. So people get looking for that. October the 30th at the O2, you got Chantel Cameron McGee for the world title. You got Yusuf Kamari, who I think is absolutely fantastic. And look, there's a few other fights on there for the hardcore fans. They're going to enjoy some of them fights on there, but for the casuals, it's not really going to catch the eye, and I can totally, fully respect that. And look, if any of you guys want to jump on, look, Ra's waiting. I'm going to get Ra on in a minute. If any of you guys want to jump on as well, I've put the link into the chat. So just write in the chat that you want to come on, click on the link and get involved. And I definitely would want to get you involved. And Mr. Jones here says, no, not that one. We'll go to that one next. Mr. Jones says the end of AJ coming April or March. we'll see what happens there. Obviously, Mr. Jones is not a fan of AJ, but we totally respect that. We respect everyone's opinion. We got is that conveying ideas? Dill's been stiffed the business for long enough, and now he's got to be business about his business. But will Fury fight him? That's the question. Will he fight him? I don't know. I think if the money's right, I'm sure that can make some serious money. Like, look, Fury's fought some bums in his time, hasn't he? And I love Tyson Fury, but look, when he fought some of the guys, he's fought Tom Schwartz. Dillian White's a much better fight than Tom Schwartz. And Wallen at the time, Dillian White's a much better fight. I'm sure they can get their money together and they can get that going. We got King Midas again saying Fury's already had 20 months of inactivity. Not fair for Fury to wait until after a rescheduled voluntary one-hand fight. I totally agree. And then Mr. Jones also says that Joshua is a bum himself. Well, look, Mr. Jones, we don't need to start going into all that, but I disagree with that comment, but I totally respect your opinion. White has been ducking Pulev and Ortiz. Facts. Mr. Jones, if you ever want to come on, get your opinion, we would love that. I love speaking to people that have different opinions, different ideas of how boxing plays out, because look, we can all learn something new. I'm not saying that I know everything. I know hardly anything to some people, but I've been following the sport for 25 years. I watch it religiously all the time, study it daily, and yeah. So look, anyone's opinion will never ever not be spoken about unless it's obviously with bad language and being too disrespectful. But Mr. Jones, if you ever want to have a chat about that, I'd love to hear your opinions. Kangaroo Jack last night was the same. And look, I'll get one more comment out, and then we'll see if Raj is about. Get him involved. We want to get the fans involved. Kangaroo Jack come on last night. Any of you guys want to get on tonight? The link's in the comment. Just scroll up. Let me know in the comments if you're going to come on, and then we'll get you on in that. Star Fox McLeod's in the house tonight. Big up yourself. If you want to come on, mate, you were at the Mikey Garcia fight the other day. That'd be great. And King Roller says, Mr. Jones, Ortiz turned down $2 million from White to headline the O2 on pay-per-view. So yeah, people get in the comments and that. And yeah, have we got Raj? Is Raj here? Raj, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you all right. How you doing? How you doing this evening?
Lovely. Thanks for having me on. It was great chatting to you, yourself, and sorry I didn't catch the other gent's name.
Kenny.
Yeah, like yourself and Kenny, I am a bit of an older fan, so I have been following the sport for 30 years. So I do remember the Tyson era.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's great.
So we're talking about Anthony Joshua and the training situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow Hatman Boxing. He's one of my favourite channels. I mean, he's been saying for years that AJ should have moved on, and that's no disrespect to Rob Mccracken. I'm sure he's a great coach, but I think it's fair to say that in America, some of them American gyms, the old school trainers, and just the whole environment, like with the harder sparring and that sort of thing, probably could have done AJ good. At this point, at the age of 32 now, I don't think changing a coach just for the Usyk rematch, because if it's got to be done by March or April, what is any coach going to be able to change in 5 months? I know Kenny disagrees with me with the whole thing about the ring IQ, but Usyk's strength is his technical ability and ring IQ, and I don't think no coach in a space of 5 months can get AJ up to speed to beat Usyk in 5 months. I actually think it's a mistake for AJ to take the Usyk rematch. But yeah, I mean, what's any coach going to do in just 5 months against a guy who's so thoroughly outboxing?
You saw Sugar Hill with Tyson Fury after Deontay Wilder the first fight. He had Ben Davison and Ricky Hatton.
Yeah.
He changed his style. He's a different animal now. I think Sugar Hill would be perfect for Anthony Joshua. The Kronk style, the Klitschko style, now the Fury style. I feel like that's what AJ would need. And yeah, you're not going to get full changes. I agree with that. I believe but you got to make a change to go forward. Like, if it's going to be a long-term process, then obviously it's the right time. I feel like Rob Mccracken is great, and I feel like he's amazing, but AJ's is in a gym full of Olympians, full of amateurs. You need to be experienced. These other animals, these other world champions, and I think Canelo's a prime example. Going to see Canelo, I guarantee he would have loved the guy's work ethic. He would have loved his character, and I see them both as the same as a brand. I feel like AJ and Canelo represent pretty similar attributes. The way that they go to press conferences, you've seen, and look at Canelo now. He's shown that attitude where he's gone a bit nasty. He's not letting anyone walk over him, and he looks like the man. I think that's what AJ needs to do. I said that to Ken earlier. He needs to let people know that he means business. He can't be this nice guy all the time, because people, let's be real, people take kindness for weakness, and I feel like Usyk, he didn't fit AJ. That first round, he landed that big left bomb on him, and I think that changed the fight, to be honest. When he landed that, AJ went straight back on the back foot even more, and he probably in any heavyweight fight or any fight, if you take a big shot and feel it, you're going to be weary going forward, and taking that in the first round completely changed that fight for me. I don't know what your opinions on that were.
I was actually at Tottenham. Had to drop that in there. Yeah, look, for a while, AJ, certainly since the Ruiz loss, he has looked somewhat passive. The thing about what you said about Sugar Hill changing Fury, the thing is, Fury already had a very highly developed ring IQ, and I think he would be able to change with a new coach in a relatively short period of time. Whereas someone like AJ, like I said, I think he's been getting by on tremendous athleticism, but his limited amateur career and starting so late at 18 or whatever, I don't think he's had the time to really develop that really subtle ring IQ. I mean, I know Usyk only started boxing at 16, but he had hundreds of amateur fights, and I think it's over that long period that's where fighters develop their ring IQ. AJ didn't have many amateur fights, and he didn't have many pro fights before going into world level, and now he's sort of stuck at world level, so there isn't the time to sort of, if you like, develop and practice things, the way, say, Lennox Lewis, after he lost to Oliver McCall, it was like 3 years before he challenged McCall again. He had a couple of knockovers with Stewart, and he looked pretty dire in a couple of them, and people are like, well, you ain't never going to beat Holyfield or Tyson. But as Hatman pointed out in his recent video, it benefited Lewis. He needed a couple of years away from the top level to practice and develop some of them moves, which he probably hadn't early on in his career.
Yeah.
And AJ isn't getting that. If he goes straight back in with Usyk, like I said, 5 months ain't enough. He's probably going to get beaten again. And if truth be told, I think Usyk stops him this time round.
We saw it near the end of the 12th, didn't we? We saw it in that fight. Usyk was getting the bell. But Usyk, with AJ's got to go for a shootout. For me, he's got to try and knock him out in the first 4 rounds. And I think he can do that. If he doesn't, I agree with you. I think Usyk could take it on points or stop him late. But Usyk doesn't want to hurt anyone. Have you seen some of his comments? He says that he isn't in this sport to hurt people. He just wants to box people. He's like the Khabib of MMA. Like Khabib said, he never wanted to hurt anyone really. He just wanted to choke him out, not knock him out, because he didn't want to hurt him. And Usyk's the same. He just says, I just want to box my way through it. He says he wants the AJ fight, then the undisputed fight, and then he wants to retire. So Usyk, fair play to him, like to have that mentality, in to go to war and not want to hurt someone.
Fighters do say a lot of things though, which, for the cameras, which.
But you can see with Usyk, you can with his AJ midway through the fight, and he said he just didn't want to do that. And I believe, you can't the guy's heavyweight champion of the world. I know fighters do say stuff. Normally, they normally big up that they want to knock the guy out, and they don't normally end up doing it. But this is the other way around. The guy's basically beat up a guy for 12 rounds and said, "Look, I could have took him out at any point, but I don't." Usyk's not like some people. some people are different. They're just different. They just see the sport differently. To him, it's a skill. It's a skill. It's not brutality for him.
Maybe you're right. There have been other fighters who ain't killers. They don't have that killer mentality, and they're happy to outbox guys thoroughly. I can't think
Johnny
of
Nelson,
heavyweight Nelson. I'm thinking maybe someone like Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah,
brilliant boxer.
Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah, I mean, but I think if Usyk wants to, now that he's got the measure of, the heavier weight, now he knows how his own gas tank will hold up with the extra weight. If he wants to move through the gears quicker against AJ, I think he can stop him in 10 rounds. Because contrary to what a lot of the people in the comments keep saying about AJ being glass-jawed, as you know, I don't think he is. I think his biggest problem is his stamina. And if Usyk wants to step on the gas, I think he can exhaust him and stop him on his feet. Probably not. I don't think it will have AJ flat on his back, with getting counted out.
Maybe like the Ruiz fight.
Maybe on his feet, his head getting knocked back a dozen times and the referee stepping in. Like you said, like that 12th round.
That was close. Another 30 seconds, it would have got called off. I think when I looked back, I think they actually had the towel ready to get thrown in. I'm not 100% sure. I have to look at it again, but I thought that they may have been getting ready to throw the towel in if it was going any longer. But he was in a very difficult situation. But as I said to Kenny, if you looked at the fighters afterwards, Usyk took a battering. Like, you saw his face, he didn't agree, and that gives me little signs of improvement. And I've seen it with a lot of Usyk fights where he struggles. And if you go back and watch the AJ fight, he doesn't like it when he gets hit. He doesn't like it when fighters fight on the inside. He complains to the ref a lot. He shakes his head. So if you can get in dirty with him and rough him up a bit, Derek Chisora done a great game plan with that one. Usyk does have weaknesses. He isn't a fighter that doesn't have weaknesses. He doesn't like inside work. Trust me, go back and watch a lot of his fights when he's getting roughed up on the inside. As the break happens, he'll have a moan at the ref, or he'll look at the ref, or just little things like that. So there are aspects that you can get to Usyk. But I think he's an absolute fantastic fighter. Trainer-wise, who would you go for if you were Anthony Joshua? Let's just put it out there. One trainer, your choice. Who would you go for if you were Anthony Joshua?
Can't say I'm an expert on boxing coaches. I would have said someone like... I would have said Ronnie Shields, who's down there in Texas. But since he's come out on social media and start blabbering his mouth to the world... But if you're talking about purely from a boxing point of view, I would have thought someone like him. Because I can imagine technically he is really good, what he's done with the Charlos, and they're again similarly athletic punchers. And I think in their gym there's probably some of that badass mentality that I get the impression things are too comfortable for AJ over there in Sheffield. He's the golden boy, he's treated with kids' gloves. And maybe he's gone soft. But I think if he goes over there, somewhere like Texas, I can imagine Shields' gym is full of loads of macho,
just lions, just
macho fighters that will inspiring, will keep him sharp. Yeah.
Because you want that target on your back, don't you? You want that target. Like, AJ's going to be going into these gyms. When AJ's in the gym in Sheffield, I don't know what the setup is, but I'm just going on my own opinion. As I say, he's in there with amateurs, people looking up to him. They're not going to really be putting it on him. I'm sure he gets sparring partners that do come in from outside of that camp, but 90% of his camp, he's there. He's inspiring people. He's inspiring the younger guys, the younger girls in the gym. But now he needs to be going in these gyms where he's the target, where these young lions, these young professionals, not amateurs, these young professionals in America, Texas, Miami, wherever he's going, they're going to see AJ there, and they're going to think, I want to show AJ what I've got. I want to see what he's got about him. I want to see, is this guy really what they say he is? And that's what you need. You see a lot of these fighters, a couple of years ago, they always used to go out to the Mayweather gym. They used to go down to Big Bear. That's what I like about Tyson Fury. He does all that. He goes out there. He explores these other gyms. And I agree with you. I think Ronnie Shields would have been a great trainer. I think now, definitely, I think you're going to lose Rob Mccracken. I think with some of the comments that we've heard, that I think Rob's definitely going to go. I just want to say Rob is a great trainer. But obviously, I think Rob's style suited for the GB squad, which is great as well, because we want a great GB squad. We want a great Olympics. We want these future fighters. And I think fair play to him and that. But AJ, I heard he's going to keep Angel Fernandez. I think that's what Ronnie Shields said. Ronnie Shields said that to him, AJ just mentioned Angel Fernandez. He didn't mention anyone else from the coaching team, so he presumed that that's the only guy that will be staying. I think Angel Fernandez is absolutely fantastic. But what UK coach? I know it probably might not be a UK coach. Is there any coaches in the UK that you would like maybe to see AJ work with, like a Ben Davison or a Shane McGuigan, someone like that? I like Grant Smith. I think he's a good young trainer as well. Who would you go for? UK based.
Who's got experience with heavyweights though? Because aren't the rules different with heavyweights in coaching them?
True.
Think of Mark Tibbs. I mean, obviously Ben has worked with Fury, but again, would either of them want to train AJ, given that they were so close to two of his arch rivals? So
I think they would if they wasn't fighting Fury. I think they could be professional enough to say, look, AJ's a great fighter. It's like in football a little bit. Say if you managed to play for a rival, a couple of years' time, if you get the opportunity to play for that rival and they're maybe better than the team you played for, you'll probably go for it because you got that respect of that athlete. And maybe that might be the same in boxing. Ben might say, look, if you're not fighting Tyson and you want me for this fight or for a couple of fights and Tyson's not in the picture, he might do that. But they have got busy stables themselves. I do agree with you. Mark Tibbs, who's a great trainer, obviously a great friend of the channel and that. Joe goes down to his gym quite regular, and we love Mark Tibbs and everything he's doing down there. Big Johnny Fisher, great heavyweight, a one to watch. People, please check out Johnny Fisher, the Romford Bull. Check him out on Instagram. Check out his story. He's a great fighter, and I would have been up for him fighting Iron Wallen, but obviously that might have been too soon. But I like the balls of him. Balls like King Kong. Punches like a horse kicking. Absolutely love Johnny Fisher, and Mark Tibbs would be a great trainer. Obviously, with Dillian White, done some great stuff. You got Xavier Miller, who's with Dillian White. Obviously, that ain't going to work out because he's with Dillian White. But I just want to give him a mention because he's a great coach as well. Another great coach that I want people to know about. And look, there's so many great coaches out there. You've even got people like Freddie Roach in America. I heard the comment earlier, people saying Freddie Roach, he's worked with some great fighters. I think maybe Freddie Roach is near the end of his career. Maybe he's got his stable of fighters that he's got now. I could see it, but I see Freddie Roach as more coming in as a second or third man, like Tyson Fury did in his first fight with Wilder when he had Ricky Hatton, Ben Davison, and Freddie Roach there. But it's an interesting landscape. It's going to change very, very soon. But what fighters are you looking forward to? Is there any heavyweights that you're looking forward to? I love Joe Joyce at the moment.
Yeah.
Joe Joyce for me is fantastic.
I mean, I do go to fights regularly. I went to his last fight. I was going to go to the White Wallin fight. Obviously, that's off. Upcoming heavyweights are you talking about? I mean, I actually think Joe Joyce, for all the criticism he gets, style-wise, I always thought he was a really big threat to AJ. And I think he will give Usyk a harder fight than AJ did. So I'm really interested to see what he does. Obviously, Daniel Dubois, I've been to quite a few of his fights. Obviously, he was much criticised for, quitting against Joyce. Under Shane McGuigan, I think he'll do big things. I'd love to see him get the WBA regular, knock over Trevor Bryan and see what he can do. Because again, I mean, don't want to keep going back to AJ and Usyk, but this is what I actually think a better thing for AJ would be, is to not take the Usyk rematch, because Usyk then has 3 really hard mandatories. Joe Joyce, who he ain't going to put a dent in Joyce, and Joyce is going to just keep coming and coming in a way AJ can't. Probably Hrgović for the IBF belt.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not sold on Hrgović, but people in the trade say he is the next great heavyweight. And then probably Daniel Dubois for the WBA if Frank Warren can work his magic. You know, those are three big, powerful heavyweights, and Usyk's 35. Even if Usyk comes through the three of those, at the age of 35, 36 rounds getting hit by those three guys, because it will go 36 rounds. He ain't getting those three out. And then fight Usyk a year or two from now, because that'll take a toll on Usyk.
If Usyk gets through them, he might not even get through. Like you say, they're tough fights.
There's no guarantee. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, still interested to see what Daniel Dubois does. You talking about at world level, or
just anyone that's like, obviously you got we could go proper down low. You got Solomon Dakers, who I thought got a good victory against Sokolowski, who Sokolowski beat David Adelaide in my opinion, who's another young heavyweight. Sokolowski's he's pulled up some upsets. He's had some big wins in his time. So someone to beat him in their second fight. So Solomon Dakers is one. You got Nicky Clark from Scotland, who's another. Domestically for heavyweights at the moment is fantastic. And what I would do is do a tournament. I would definitely do a tournament at British level of heavyweights. I think people are missing a trick here.
I would absolutely love that. I mean, again, said.
Oh, sorry. You carry on.
Like you said with the amateur setup. Even Evander Holyfield mentioned this, that investing in the amateur scene does pay off, and that's what we're seeing at the professional heavyweight level. Like you said, there's Dakers. I forget the gent who's just come out of the Olympics, who's just
Fraser Clark.
Fraser, yeah. There's Adelaide, Steve Robinson, USSR Robinson. He's got a great shtick up there in Newcastle.
Mate, he looked fantastic the other day. He looked absolutely incredible. You got Babic, you probably fit in there. Fabio Wardley. We could easily have a 16-man domestic heavyweight tournament. Throw Dave Allen in there.
Cash Ali from Sheffield.
Yeah, Cash Ali. 100%. Throw him in there. He's looking great. I think he's European champion at the moment. IBF European champion Cash Ali. So look, we could easily name 16 out there. Like I said, David Adelaide, Nathan Gorman. There could easily be a lovely 16-man tournament.
Could have a great domestic tournament, yeah.
And have all the titles on the line. Have the Commonwealth and British title on there. If you could maybe fit a European title in there, if there's one going, that could be there. But that could be a massive domestic tournament. These tournaments or these big events don't always have to be world title level to get people in. I think a British heavyweight tournament could definitely bring in a lot of casuals. Say, and make it a heavyweight night. So like for 6 months. So the first event, you'll have the first 8 fights on. Then 6 months later, you got the semi-finals. And then another couple of months after that, if everything's right, you got the finals. So maybe do it over a 12-month period. But everyone's got fights scheduled in. You obviously could have replacements if there's injuries or whatnot. But I just believe, and you could do that at all weight levels, not just heavyweights, but heavyweights at the moment.
Obviously, we all love it. I really love that idea, especially because the top level of the heavyweight division it's really getting crowded. I mean, there's fighters just queuing up, waiting for their crack. And, with all these rematch clauses and what have you, it's like, how long has Usyk waited? Did he wait 2 years for his mandatory slot? How long is Joyce and Hrgović going to last? The queue at the top level is so high that you might as well have some big fights at domestic level, because none of them guys are getting anywhere near sort of the top 10 rankings anytime soon. Because guys who are even on the fringe of the top 10, they're not going to want to risk their spot, because they're all, they're generally going to want to hold out, hoping that they get that call one day, So yeah, domestic level, it's looking really exciting and great future, because the young heavyweights, as I'm sure you know, heavyweights, their peak tends to be sort of 30 to 35 nowadays, especially with the bigger men. So these younger heavyweights still in their 20s, plenty of time. A defeat won't really wreck their careers. and they can come back, and it'd be great excitement. I think would love to see that. As you said, there's a lot of divisions that we could just have really excited tournaments just at a domestic level.
I think it's fantastic. We've got a comment here from the Neutral Corner Boxing. You'll need a neutral promoter, Callie Sowland, and look, Cal Sowland, 100%. If you want Pep Talk to get involved, we will help you promote it. We will get involved. We saw a comment just there, the BBSS, the British Boxing Super Series. I'm telling you, people are missing out. I used to love the prize fighter events, stuff like that. Casual fans love. Tournaments, people love. They've just gone out of fashion. But look at even the Muhammad Ali Trophy. They're great. They're great. People get involved in it. I think it's great. But at a domestic level, if you're not going to have a prize fighter, the Boxer series is good. I'll give them credit. Boxer do some good stuff on that. But I just believe these tournaments would be fantastic. And as you say, in the heavyweight division, and it's not just the heavyweight division, but in a lot of these divisions, you're getting these titles being clogged up, like you're saying. The people are waiting 2-3 years for mandatories. Look at Yildirim with Canelo. I think he waited 2 years, just sat there waiting to get that payday, to get that shot. And I feel like these other fighters that can't break through to that level, instead of fighting people that you shouldn't fight and maybe getting a loss or something, or just go for these tournaments, like you say, have these big domestic fights, have them. And I believe that would be an absolute steal. And then, as I say, if anyone's out there, just get it done. And we would definitely, as fans, would enjoy something like that. Before we get going any further, I just want to say, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, but most of all, hit that bell so you get all the notifications for all our live shows, all our interviews, and all our watch-alongs. And also go to our new Instagram page, Official Pep Talk Boys. Give us a follow. We'll follow you back, and we love interacting with you fans. But is there any other fights you're looking forward to? As we heard today, some news. We're going to go into some more casual news now. Hope you can. Do you mind staying on for a bit longer, talking some more casual news?
Absolutely delighted to. Yeah.
No, fantastic. We're getting there. Get in your comments. I'm going to put a little note up now, but we're going to get into some casual news now. We heard the news today that Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall's been pulled to February the 26th, if I'm correct.
Oh, hell.
I know. December, losing another fight. We're losing fights pretty fast at the moment. So, were you looking forward to that fight?
I was planning on going.
Oh, yeah, wow.
I was planning on going. Glad I didn't book my flights to Glasgow. So.
You got off lightly there. But, yeah, for boxing, that's not it's not great. Also for Sky, they had the first show with Chris Eubank. Now this one. And then obviously you had the last Sky one last weekend. There was a few issues with Chris Eubank's opponents. These shows ain't going very smoothly at the moment for a lot of people, even DAZN losing Dillian. But yeah, there's some big fights coming up. What fights are you looking forward to that is scheduled in, if there is any that you're looking forward to?
Alvarez Plant, I'm looking forward to. And that's tasty. Not just because Alvarez... I mean, I'm not actually an Alvarez fan. I appreciate his skill level, but for me, I still think there's always that taint over the failed test a few years back.
The dodgy meat?
Yeah, I'm actually going out on a limb, and I'm partly biased, but I actually think Plant is going to do it. I know everyone scoffs at me. I just think that when a fighter gets to a point where people are talking about him being invincible and they start to believe it, that's usually the time that they get upset. I'm thinking back, like I said, the 30 years that I followed this game. Julio Cesar Chavez against Frankie Randall, when his bubble was finally burst, weren't expected. Mike Tyson against James Buster Douglas. It's usually when everyone and the fight believes they're invincible. And I think this time, Alvarez actually is rattled. He was rattled by... I mean, people go on about, oh, well, you know, at the face-off, he drew first blood because he dodged Plant's slap. I think the more telling thing from that press conference was he got rattled by Plant bringing up the drug testing. For the first time in years, he's facing someone who's not overawed by him, who's not full of respect. All right, I know Billy Joe Billy Joe was similarly disrespectful, but I think a number of factors coming together, I think we'll see one of the great upsets. But I admit I'm saying that partly in hope. We haven't seen anything from Plant in the ring to suggest he could do that, but
or out the ring. We saw at the press conference, Canelo dodged them shots beautifully and then counters.
Yeah, I know.
Look, Canelo's already 10-8 up in the first round, isn't he? Come on, let's be real. He's 10-8 up. As it says in the comments, it says Alvarez already planted one on Plant. Old Pedrov McManus. Look, Canelo, right, that's a great fight. I want to get into that with you. I love that you brought that fight up because I'm looking forward to it. I don't like that you're saying you're kind of hoping Canelo loses. I'm a Canelo fanboy. I love Canelo. I've been watching Canelo since he was 15 years old. I love Sal Canelo Alvarez. The guy, he's got cojones. He's got cojones. The guy, what I love about him is that he's got with Eddie Hearn. He feels relaxed. He's talking English. He's getting involved with the press. And what I feel like, what you said is he didn't like the comments about the drugs. I don't think that matters to him. I really don't think that matters to him. What I don't think he likes is disrespect. Anthony Joshua's the same. You saw it with Dominic Brazil. If you go back to that Dominic Brazil, that's when you first saw AJ. He was getting in Dominic Brazil's face saying, look, who are you talking to? You got to respect people around here. And I feel like that's with Canelo. I feel like Canelo, you got to give Canelo's a goat, isn't he? I know he's only 30, 31, if I'm correct. But he's been around 15 years. That's a long time. So you got to give the guy respect. The people that he's been in with, his resume, and Caleb Plant to Canelo is just another competitor. And I feel like Canelo will only get on you if you get onto him. And I like it. Look, I'm not arguing. I love that happened. I love that Caleb Plant said what he said. We got what happened at the press conference. A lot of people say, oh, do you condone that? I don't condone that. But we are in an entertaining sport. You got two caged animals stood in front of each other with no security. That's on the promotion. That's on the TV broadcasting. You should have had security guards there. Instead, you had two women in between two lions. What do you expect's going to happen? You're going to expect fireworks. Remember, who was that? Who was the guy in the UK that time when when he punched him? Can't remember. Was it Herbie Hyde? It wasn't Herbie Hyde, was it?
Hyde and Michael Bent, was it?
It might have been, but I remember it was in the UK though. But he proper planted one on him. Also, was it Eric Morales as well?
The worst one I remember was Riddick Bowe punching Larry Donald.
Oh, that was a beauty. That was a beauty. Riddick Bowe, naughty man. But across the chops. Yeah, straight across the chops. But I think Canelo will win the fight against Plant. I believe that Caleb Plant's too similar to Billy Joe Saunders. Their styles pretty similar. We've seen the head movement of Canelo. I do believe at one point Canelo will get to that point, like you said, that he may be too invincible, that there will be an upset victory. It always comes in boxing unless you come out at the right time, like Joe Calzaghe, one of my all-time favourites. He chose to retire at the right time. A couple of his fights were getting harder and harder, and he just knew that it was time to pass the torch. And for me, that's great ring intelligence. He knew that my time had come. And before you got humiliated or beaten, he made that decision to step aside. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather did the same, but he comes back for these exhibition fights, so I don't really count that. But he got out with an unbeaten record. So, yeah, it is difficult to go out at the right time, but I believe Canelo stops Plant maybe between round 8 and round 11. That's my personal opinion for that fight, but it's a fight that I want to see. It's just a worthy fight. It's a worthy fight.
It is worthy of the undisputed, the first time undisputed champion, unless we get another draw like we did at 154 early in the year.
Yeah.
But I thought Plant's in with a chance, like I said, A, because he's not showing the respect, so he's not overawed by the superstar status of Canelo. He is a boxer, a slick boxer, and I thought the extra size might help. That said, in that face-off, the way Canelo was able to push him 20 feet across the ring, I thought, actually, maybe the size ain't going to be as much of a factor as I thought. I was actually quite quite shocked to just the ease with which Canelo shoved him back. So yeah, maybe it's wishful thinking on my part. But I've set my stall out now for the last 2 fights that Canelo's getting beaten. I thought first Billy Joe would do it. So I'm going to have to stick to it now. I'm not going to flip-flop. So I'm going to stick with the Plant to get a controversial decision. Yeah, I'm going a repeat of Chavez versus Randall all them years ago.
Wow. So you're going to go for the Plant winning. Right. Stay with the channel. Stay with us. Have us on Instagram. And when that watch-along comes around, if you want to come on for a reaction or come on during the show during that, it'd be fantastic to obviously talk about it. And as we say, we want to start getting fans more involved. We obviously had Kangaroo Jack on yesterday. We've got Ra on tonight. Anyone else that want to get involved, please get involved. Obviously, we're a fan boxing channel. Now we're up and running, back into a rhythm after what happened a few months last month, where we had to change from Pep Talk UK over to Pep Talk Boys. We're starting to get into a bit of a momentum now, so we want to get you fans involved. So right, if you weeks coming up to that fight, and also on the watch along, if you're around that night, if you're watching it, please definitely get involved, because we're going to have some big chats when it comes up to that. And obviously, we don't always want the Canelo fans on. As much as I love Canelo, I love to hear, like I said earlier, I'm here to learn new things. I'm here to listen to other people's opinions. And I love that, as much as I don't agree with it, I still love hearing you speak about why you think Plant can win, why you think Canelo could struggle, and different aspects of it. And that's what we want. So anyone who wants to get involved, just ask, get on Instagram, official Pep Talk Boys, subscribe to our YouTube channel and get involved. And look, this is what it's all about. People talking about things they love, people who have a passion for it. Boxing at the moment is beautiful. Boxing is sexy. The last couple of weeks with the heavyweights, with what's been going on, there's a buzz around boxing, and we need to keep that momentum going. And here at Pep Talk Boys, we want to get you involved. Then, Rob, we've got a question in the comments for you here. The Neutral Corner Boxing says, Rob, what is your favourite prospects in the UK at the moment? So is there anyone you're really looking for? We go from people that go 10 fights and less, shall we say. So we go 10 fights and less.
Okay. I was going to say Dalton Smith, but I think he's already...
He's not over 10-0. I don't think so.
See, it depends how you define a prospect, because I think if you fought even for the British title or even the English title, are you a prospect? Because
we're say below European level. We're say because European levels then go into that next step, isn't it? So if we say below European level, we'll go with that. Okay. We'll go with that.
I'd go Dalton Smith.
100%.
You mentioned Grant Smith earlier as great coach. Yeah. What he's done with Sonny Edwards and I think Dalton. Yeah. Was going to say a personal friend of mine, Jahid Munim. He's the first kid of Bengali descent to turn pro. Shaz has actually interviewed him at his debut, and I was there. I think I even got into Shaz's interview. So
beautiful stuff. Beautiful Shaz. Big up to Shaz as well. Yeah, much love to Shaz. Loads of love from me for Shaz. And everyone get following Shaz. Shaz is an absolute beautiful, beautiful person, inside and out. And look, much respect to Shaz. He does a lot for Pep Talk. And I saw him. When did me and Jay go and see him? We saw him 2-3 weeks ago. He invited us up to the O2 to meet and greet with Khabib, and that saw a little show with Khabib talking questions. And what a great guy Shaz is. So big up to Shaz, and everyone supports Shaz. But yeah, carry on, Ra.
Hamza Shiraz again, because he's a local lad to me.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic fighter.
And I'll tell you, one thing I really like about what Hamza's done is something that very few fighters do. And again, coming back to the AJ situation, he has actually relocated to America.
Who's that, sorry? Who's relocated to America?
Hamza Shiraz.
Oh, yes, he has. So that's a great choice.
He's gone over to the Goosens gym in California. And it was interesting hearing him say how it was a shock sparring with these crazy-ass Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Argentinians, because they straight away try and take your head off. And I think a lot of the learning, you know what I mentioned about ring IQ, things like that, a lot of the learning has to be done when you're young, when your mind is still agile, but in the gym, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think that sort of environment, you are going to learn a hell of a lot. You're going to be faster. Your mind's going to have to move quicker. Because if you don't, them Argentinians and Mexican kids are going to take your head off. Yeah. So it will 100%. Up your level. And the fact that he's got out of his comfort zone, gone over there, I think that's a good sign. He's only 22. So, being in that environment, good move. So, yeah.
And he's a big guy for the weight. Huge.
Yeah,
that's a great asset to have.
Tall, gangly guy.
I want to see the Fowler fight. I want to see him versus Fowler next. I think that'd be unbelievable.
I mean, you mentioned tournaments. I mean, 154, you could have an awesome UK-only tournament.
We need to be... Look, any promoter out there, get Pep Talk Boys involved. We need to make a British boxing super series. Like you just said there, the 154 division would be absolutely fantastic. And also the women's as well. There'd be some great women tournaments that I'd love to do as well. But yeah, the 154, what would that domestically would be absolutely fire, wouldn't it, Ra?
Oh, that would be. I mean, any permutation, any combination of those top half a dozen fighters or so, great fights. I mean, like you said, yeah, get a tournament going. And is it a neutral corner? Yeah, you mentioned Dennis McCann. Yeah, another of my favourites. Seen
Mr.
him a
Harry
few times.
Love Dennis McCann. Beautiful fighter. I think in the future he's definitely gonna make some waves. And look, we got some like I said earlier in the heavyweights. Obviously, we just mentioned a couple as we're talking about them. But like I like obviously Johnny Fisher, great fighter. I think he's fantastic. Also, there's a couple of who was I thinking about the other day? Oh, I can't remember what his name is. Solomon Dakers. Yeah, that was it. Solomon Dakers when he fought Sokolowski. I just saw so much intelligence for a guy. I think he was only 2-0, maybe 3-0 after that fight. Great shot selection. A couple of nice uppercuts. Beautiful stuff. But yeah, there's some great prospects in the country in that. And is there any cards you're going to soon? I think we're trying to. I'm trying to get down to the one in Birmingham on the 6th of November. BT have got a show there.
I might be going to that because a friend of mine, he's involved with one of the fighters there. I don't think I should say. I don't know if he wants me to mention who, so I won't say who at this stage.
Yep.
So I might be going to that. The next one, which I'm definitely going to, I say definite, depending on circumstances. You know, fights and shows keep getting cancelled. But the next Sky show at Wembley. Dan Aziz, Hosea Burton, the light heavyweight British title fight.
Oh, God, it's going to be a great fight.
I mean, light heavyweight, one of the commenters posted, light heavyweight is another division that domestically is just great. So, yeah, Aziz v. Hosea Burton, that's a great fight for the British light heavyweight title. Looking forward to the undercard as well. Because Riakpor's fighting Duradola, who I know is way past it, but Riakpor, he needs to stay active because he's obviously been out for a year. But as he points out, the guys who he's beaten, i.e. Dalton Smith and McCarthy, they sort of seem to have moved on while he's been in limbo. So Riakpor arguably is the second best cruiser in the country. So I'll be interested to see where he goes. I
think he needs to make this change like Lawrence Okoli, though. Sorry, Ra. Lawrence, when he made that change to Shane McGuigan and it went from the hugging to now he looks like a different animal. I think Riakpor needs to do the same sort of approach. He can hit so hard, Richard Riakpor, but I feel like some of his fights get a bit sluggish, get a bit sloppy, and like you say, he needs to be active. And the guys that he's beat have overtaken him, and that should never really happen. But it's just down to inactivity. But that's what I like about Sky and Boxer. These small fish that were in a big pond with Matchroom are now big fish in a small pond, and they've got their opportunity to make their own names, to lead their own path, and get their limelight. You've got Huey Fury out there. I think I heard rumours today they want to try and make the Derek Chisora fight for early next year. He needs to now step up. I think I love Peter Fury, great trainer. Savannah Marshall, she is one of my favourite fighters.
Me too.
Amazing.
I'm considering going to that fight, her next one, because that's also in Birmingham, isn't it? In December.
Yes, with Clarissa Shields going to be on the card, so I definitely want to get that, because just to have her over here would be a great, unique experience, an all-time women's great. And look, the Pep Talk boys are going to try and get down there. And right, if you're at these events and that, we'll link up. We can do some stuff, some interviews in that. That'd be fantastic, because we got a friend of the show. No, that'd be great. On the 6th, November the 6th, a friend of the channel, Shoei, who's been on many times on Pep Talk UK, I think he's fighting on that card. I want to get down there. Plus, obviously, we want to cover some of the BT shows as well. So if you're down there, we'll link up, we'll do some stuff. We've got some ideas for the channel. What we want to do is do some fan lives at the fights. We want to speak to some fans before the show, get your reactions after the show as well. We think that would be a unique, special experience.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
If people get involved. Also, I want to give a shout out to some of the small hall promotions. Black Flash promotion, Pat Barrett doing some absolutely fantastic stuff. They got some shows coming up, so check out their Instagram, their socials and that. They got shows coming up for the next few weeks. We're trying to hook something up, so hopefully we can do something with them, maybe link up some of their fights and put them on there for you guys as well. That'd be great. And also Black Box Management, Dean White doing some great stuff. They got a show in a couple of weeks' time. So everyone get behind these people. So you got Fight Zone, Dennis Hobson and that, Mick Hennessy, you got Lee and that. All these people, MTK trying to do what they can do as well, helping grassroots, the small hall shows and also the big shows as well. But also we want to give a shout out to all the amateurs turning pro. Good luck to you guys. Pep Talk boys want to support you. If you ever want to get involved with the channel, you want to get your stories out there, get your profiles out there, give us a message on our Instagrams. And look, you're always welcome. There's a platform here for all fighters, all coaches, promoters, and also the fans. So yeah, everyone get involved. We see whatever comments are going on here.
Shabazz Masood is someone people have mentioned. Yeah, I've watched him a couple of times.
Yeah, he's great.
Super bantamweight, another red hot domestic division. Thing with Shabazz, I noticed Prince has said reminds him of Prince Nassim, and obviously as a kid I remember Naz in his heyday.
Yeah.
See that slick, flashy style. One thing I would say is a lot of these guys, they try and mimic the Naz style, but without the Naz punching power. Because make no mistake, that style, you have to have that insane punching power to deter opponents. Because, you know, Naz's critics, of course, they always point to the Barrera fight. But it's worth remembering, even the great Barrera, he had to resort to boxing Naz at a safe distance. Because even he, as a Mexican warrior, he couldn't march straight in at Naz. Because, you know, when you got that sort of punching power, it acts as a deterrent. And I'm not seeing that from Shabazz. And that's no disrespect, like I said. Punching power ain't everything, especially in the lighter weights. But with Ben Davison as his coach, I'm sure he's emphasising the importance of technique and ring IQ. But yeah, Shabazz, get him in the mix with those super bantamweights. Brad Foster, Cunningham, Kai Sashvak. Is it Kamal Yafai? I can't remember the trio.
Kamal Yafai, Kamal Yafai. You got beat by Cunningham.
Chrissy.
But what about Cunningham's story though, Ra? What about he's like the Cinderella man.
Amazing. Again, it emphasises the importance of not being concerned with an unbeaten record. The importance is you go in there, you learn from your defeats, and then you can come back, and that's what he's done. So great for him. If he wants to move on to the next level, certainly wouldn't begrudge him that. But otherwise, super bantamweight, great division, and a couple of great prospects there. Shabazz being one of them, Chrissy Bork another. And of course, there's the English title coming up between Ramez Mahmoud and Bateson up in Leeds. Another fight I'm considering going. So
that'd be great. Jack Bateson. I followed him since the amateurs. That should be a great fight. The neutral corner box says Cunningham's just signed with Frank Warren, so obviously they're going to make the Brad Foster rematch, I presume. That's probably the most natural thing. That was a close fight. It was a good fight. I personally thought Brad Foster might have nicked it, but obviously when you're fighting a title fight, it's close. So I think the rematch is definitely going to happen there. But let's go on, and we're going to go on for another 8 minutes or so. We'll throw this out there. I'll get it onto the screen. YouTube boxing is going to be Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, apparently for December. What's your thoughts on that? If you got any thoughts on it, positive or negative, Ra, just go with it, mate. Let me know what you're thinking about that.
Good fun. I mean, listen, I know personally pro boxers, and I know how cruel and unforgiving this sport is, that these guys shedding blood, sweat and tears often for years and come out of it physically diminished and financially diminished. And then these clowns can come along, talk a load of shit and earn millions. Yeah, it's cruel, it's unforgiving, but the truth is, it is going to be fun. And I can't begrudge Tommy Fury looking for that quick money. Will I watch it? Depends. I ain't going to pay for it. And I'm not someone who, I don't disrespect fighters by getting these illegal streams, because I think fighters should get paid for their work. But yeah, Tommy Fury v Jake Paul. If it's on a pay-per-view, I won't pay for it unless it's part of some other sort of serious card where there's some actual serious fighters on there. Yeah, like I said, don't begrudge them. If a bunch of teenagers all want to use their pocket money to watch Jake Paul, good luck to them. But yeah,
it's got to be spoken about because it is a big talking point. I know it gets a lot of attention and that. Me personally, I've grew up with YouTube, and that's for me. I have a lot of respect for YouTubers. The one thing I will say for Jake Paul is he does train hard, and I do see that. He's not just going in there every couple of months just for a laugh or whatever. The guy's put some serious training in, but Tommy Fury, he should. Let's be realistic. He should take this guy out. We saw in a Tyrone Woodley fight. For me, I watched it back a couple of times. People say that Tyrone Woodley easily got beaten. I don't think he did. If you watch it properly and you actually just not worry about the circus and actually put it down to boxing, I thought after the third round, I thought Woodley controlled the fight. But a lot of other people have a different opinion on that. I've heard a rumour yesterday that apparently it was in the contract that Woodley wasn't allowed to knock Jake Paul out. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is true. Maybe people are just saying that to throw that out there, but who knows?
Is that even possible legally for a professional boxing match? I can't see how it can be.
The guy is Dylan Dennis, who is a bit of an idiot in MMA, but I don't know what he knows or if he's just saying radical stuff. But maybe it wasn't an actual professional bout. Who knows? Maybe it was said it was, but it was under exhibition rules.
True.
You never know.
I mean, yeah,
it's tough, isn't it?
Legalities of it is, but
I don't believe it. It could be true. I don't think it is true. I think Tommy Fury should beat him. I think people will say, look at Tommy Fury's last fight. He didn't look great, but look at the guy he fought. He was about a foot smaller. He was just looking to survive. He's a journeyman. And as John Fury says, these people that look to survive are harder to get out than people that have got proper boxing skills, because they know how to survive. Look, we've all watched boxing for many years. You've seen many journeymen who've got a losing record of 150, but only been stopped once or twice. You've seen it loads of times. There's a certain knack of knowing how to make a fight dirty, to how to make it a bit sloppy. And people are going on here about Prince Teddy going on, perfect example. Surprised Vidal hasn't jumped the fight. The YouTubers. There's been a lot of talk last week that Vidal's retired. I think it was a bit of clickbait, maybe a bit of untruth. But I knew as soon as he signed with Sky, he's going to be going with Sky. He's going to be going with Boxer. And I want to see Vidal Riley get in the mix, because Vidal Riley should be fighting people like Tommy Fury. Vidal Riley's a proper boxer. He had a great amateur career. He went over, signed with Mayweather Promotion. I know he's had a bit of an injury-plagued professional career so far, but Vidal Riley, he's someone. I don't know if you've seen much of him, Raja. Have you studied him much?
I haven't. No. I didn't know he had such an accomplished amateur career. So.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how old he is? Because he's wasting time. I mean,
23, I think, maybe 23, 24.
And he's going to box at what, cruiserweight?
Yeah, he's a cruiserweight. Yeah, he's definitely a cruiserweight. He beat Chris Billiam-Smith as an amateur. He's got quite a good amateur record. His first two fights he won by knockout. like I say, he went to train at the Mayweather gym and they signed him up. So he's got a good pedigree. He's a good. I really like him. Check him out if you're not seeing any footage of him, people. Anyone, he's 24. He I don't know what. I know he's had a few injuries. There's a few injuries that he has had, and that's a bit unfortunate. He was meant to be on the Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather card, but I think he had issues with a visa or maybe with COVID that was going on at the moment. He wasn't able to get over there, so that's been a setback. But I'm pretty adamant that now that he's not training KSI, doing all that. The thing is, he is a YouTuber as well. He does do YouTube, but he is a fighter. He is a fighter. Let's not get it wrong. He is that first and foremost. He is a fighter, but he does do other stuff. He has got other qualities. He does do well at presenting. He does do well at YouTube. So maybe he's just been trying to figure out what he can manage. But he's someone to look forward to. He's a really good fighter. So people, please check him out.
Yeah, well, at 24, and I mean that's young for a cruiserweight. So I guess there isn't as much of a need for there's the urgency to get a move on. Nevertheless, as I said, a lot of the learning is done when you're young. So yeah, I would like to see him get active then.
Yeah, definitely. Because in this cruiserweight division. Oh, sorry. Carry on, Ra.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Prince Teddy's just saying he's fully focused on boxing now. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's good to hear because the cruiserweight division.
Let's see.
Another tournament, Ra.
Yeah.
You got Chris Billam-Smith, who he's beat before. Riakpur.
Yeah, domestically. There's other guys like Lawal and I don't know what happened to Dion Juma. Is his career at risk now? I know he had an eye problem, didn't he?
Or is it Chamberlain? Is he still fighting around? Has he gone down to light heavies or cruiserweight?
Yeah, I was at Chamberlain still at Cruiser on Channel 5 with Mick Hennessy. So yeah, it is a great division. Again, the three heaviest divisions are actually all domestically great divisions.
Definitely, most definitely, and it's beautiful for us. But honestly, we need to get the boxing, a British boxing super series going. Right, it's been brilliant speaking to you tonight. If you ever want to come back on, please just ask. Don't worry about it. Just throw it in the comments or follow us on socials. Get involved. If you want to do anything else with us in the future, you're more than welcome. So we've really enjoyed having you on tonight, and your opinion's been fantastic.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and yeah, look forward to talking to you guys again soon, and probably meeting you at some of these shows.
No, 100%. We definitely would love to meet you. You've got great knowledge. It's been great speaking to you. If you've got any socials you want to shout, if you don't, that's cool. But if you want people to come check you out, maybe, then you can throw some socials out. Now you've got an opportunity.
I'm a bit old for all that. I mean, I use my socials just to follow the actual pros. I don't really need follows.
That's all right. But make sure you follow official Pep Talk Boys. Yeah. We would love to get you involved. And yeah, we'll catch up.
I'll be following you guys. Don't worry. Yeah.
Oh no, that's great. And we'll catch up with you at the shows. But yeah, any other lives that you see, just jump on, get in the comments, and we'll throw you on there. Right, it's been beautiful to speak to you.
Pleasure's all mine.
Have a great evening.
Thanks to everyone in the comments too.
Yeah, definitely to the evening. Cheers, thank you. Yeah, that's Ra, people. Fantastic. 2 nights in a row we've had fans on. That's been absolutely beautiful. We've also been having some chats earlier about AJ getting a new coach. We had Kenny on at the start of the show. Look, you in the comments, absolutely fantastic. Always a pleasure. Pep Talk Army coming on strong. We want to recruit some more of you. So please follow official Pep Talk Boys on our new Instagram page. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, Pep Talk Boys. Hit the notification bell. Look, that's what we want. Hit that bell, ring that bell, people, so you get all the latest news, all the latest lives, all the latest watch-alongs. And look, you get me, Alby, Joe Pugh, you get Kenny Ken, and look, we got you guys, the Pep Talk Army. We had Kangaroo Jack on yesterday. He was fantastic, all the way from Australia. Ra was fantastic tonight. Absolutely great speaking to him. Great knowledge, great speaker. Beautiful to talk about boxing. That's what I love. These boxing super series, when we just go off on a mad one and start talking about stuff like that, that's me all over. And look, I'm going to be pushing for that. I'll be putting it out on the socials and that. I might do a cheeky little clip, edit a clip up, and get it out there, because these promoters need it. We need it in boxing. We need these big fights, and there's enough fighters out there. And look, Ra in the comments says, thanks for everyone's input. Speak to you all soon. Yeah, right. Anytime you want to come on, get on there, and we'll get involved. Look, Prince Teddy, we need to get you on. If you want to come on, get on as well. We will love that. We're going to do what we're going to do. We're not too sure. Might have some interviews up tomorrow. I think Joe might be trying to hit down some gyms. So if that happens, we'll get some interviews up for you. If you can continue watching some of our videos, Joe's Mark Tibbs one's done really well. Dean White. So yeah, please check the channel out. Hit that subscribe button. So we're going to get some more content out for you for the next couple of days. Check our socials. Like I said, Facebook, Pep Talk Boys, Instagram, official Pep Talk Boys. Check it out. I'll be bringing you some new stuff that's going to be flowing from tomorrow. I might go on there in a minute and maybe put something on there for tonight, and then tomorrow we'll be flowing with that, so everyone get involved. But yeah, I'm Jay Alby. You see my social at the bottom, J_Alby 1989. Hit me up on Instagram. Just send me a follow, people. And if you want to get involved, get on the channel. If you come into events, let us know, and we'll let you know what events we're going to be going to. And like I say, we want to be speaking to you fans at the events and stuff like that, and that'd be something that'd be really unique. Please check out the other promotions that I said earlier. Black Flash Promotions, Pat Barrett doing great stuff up in Manny. You got Dean White with Black Box Management Promotions. They're doing some great stuff as well down south. So please check them out. Check out Fight Zone, Dennis Hobson, Mick Hennessy. Just check out boxing, people, because look who's winning. Boxing's winning if we're all talking positively and getting involved. So look, everyone, have a great night. It's been me, Jay Alby, and you know what time it is. It's Pep Talk Boys. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Road to 1K. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. It might take a couple of months. It might take a year. But with your support, we'll get there. The Pep Talk Army, you are the guys that get us through this. And look, we're trying and get some more watch-alongs going as well, because they're great for the fans. You lot jump on board. And what can we say? Some great fights that have happened the last few weeks. We've had the trilogy. We've had Usyk versus Joshua. We've got Caleb Plant versus Canelo coming up. We've got the super fight, the YouTube celebrity fight coming up. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. Love it or hate it, it's all coming forward. We've got the esports boxing club game coming out as well. So what's your thoughts on that? Just get to our socials, get to YouTube, check us out. And for me, it's good night. Pep Talk Boys, we're back again. Peace out.